Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Horler and I'm here with Jan Skoyles of Coinsilium. Thank you very much for joining me, Jan.
Thank you for having us.
There's so much hype around blockchain. What makes Coinsilium so certain that this technology will revolutionise businesses such as banking?
Well, I think in order to give anyone confidence about any sector that you're looking at or any technology, you're looking at how the wider environment are approaching it. And Bitcoin and blockchain have very much kind of diverged in terms of their industries and the approaches that are going on. And so blockchain in the last year or so has had a huge amount of hype going around it. And we've seen that, especially in the mainstream media, they're picking up on it. And so when Coinsilium sits and looks at this space, we can see an industry that is approaching near $1 billion worth of investment. Now, reports vary. It either happened towards the end of last year or it's going to happen in the next year or so. But, you know, we're talking about huge amounts of money. And when you compare that to the lifestyle of the internet, that period of time, then we're outstepping that, as it were. So when we then look at who else is involved in it, governments are commenting on it. We've got regulators discussing it. The banks are involved. We know that, Barclays are getting involved with Bitcoin, allowing charities to bring Bitcoin in. UBS have launched a blockchain lab here in London, and generally have quite a supportive environment. And then when you look at businesses are involved, you've got the likes of NASDAQ doing things with their exchange and putting stuff on the blockchain. And so we've got the likes of R3 being launched as a big consortium, which I'm sure many people are familiar with. And IBM are very heavily involved in terms of the accelerator space as well. And we ourselves have an accelerator that we've launched in order to try and embrace what's going on in terms of this discovery that we're going through with blockchain technology. And that's blockchain space that we're launching shortly.
Can you point to an area where blockchain is already having an impact and its benefits are being felt?
Well, just this morning, mid-January, we're reading that the government have received a report from our chief scientist saying that, technology scientist, I think he was, and he was talking about how blockchain really needs to be considered by the government in their own processes, data management and systems. So just from that end alone, we're seeing an impact in the government, not just in terms of what they're advising people to do, but they themselves need to be taking note of it. And then I think if you also look at Bitcoin, we shouldn't just dismiss Bitcoin because suddenly lots of money is going into blockchain. Bitcoin itself is an example of the success of blockchain. We're now looking at a $5 billion market cap, and we're looking at it being accepted in a wide variety of areas. Countries are looking at it more closely. There are only a handful of countries that really have a serious issue with Bitcoin, and instead it's kind of really made people think about our monetary systems, how we can help the unbanked, and generally how we can be exploring alternative ways of banking and finance, but also data management and systems. So, for example, Factum, which is an investee company that we're involved with, they're talking to the Honduran government, working with them in terms of their land registry. And so that in itself is a huge thing, that this technology has impacted how a government and country may well be approaching, their systems and procedures.
Is enough being done to help blockchain companies get their solutions to market? And what's the significance of an IPO approach in this context?
Well, I think there's always more that can be done. And I think that's one of the remits of Coinsilium, is we are there to support our investee companies and other companies in terms of their growth and how they navigate through the complicated and often quite confusing point of launching a business and what you do next after you develop technology, but also navigating what is actually quite a supportive environment. So if we take London, for example, we really are, leading the world in terms of how we approach this technology. So I've already mentioned the government, I've already mentioned the FCA, we've got Project Innovate, which is helping us sandbox these developments. And then we have got a very good financial system, which, because of what we've been through in the last few years, are very open to approaching these new ideas and things. Having said that, there is a huge amount of talk, and in these areas there's often not very much action, or sometimes it's quite inward looking. And so one of the things at Coinsilium is that, thanks to IPOing, we have got a good profile, and that means that we can not only help retail investors get access to this space, which previously wasn't available to them, but we also can get access to speaking to these people, which our own investee companies and other startups and new businesses in the space could really do with access to, and we can provide that kind of supportive approach to them launching and growing their businesses.
Jan, thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.